at the end of the day, fascism is an ideology that eats itself. It needs an other to exist. It will eat the other, and then it will find a new other, and it will destroy itself. It will lose. It can't win. It is a lost ideology from the start. It is flawed and will end and lose. My name is Trevor Silva. I'm the CEO, co-founder of My Cluck Hut, along with my partner and wife, Dr. Jennifer Berry. My Cluck Hut has nothing to do with chickens except for just being chicken themed. Really what we did was we began a business during the pandemic because A, everything was horrifying. B, it was a time in history where I was kind of at the end of a career of being a musician for years, and I was kind of having that, what do I do when I grow up? They're almost 40 years old, and when the pandemic started, and I really thought to myself, maybe this is the time in history where we come together, where we unite. This is unknown virus. We'll mask. We'll protect ourselves. And then we didn't do that. And then, I'm like, well, that was horrifying to see how just little care people had for each other. And then when George Floyd was murdered, and I'm bawling, and I'm seeing this man crying out for his mother, and I'm like, this is it. This is where we come together. We unite. And then we didn't. We went the opposite direction, and I just got to the end of my rope of feeling like it was either blow, and I don't say this lightly, like blow my brains out, it changed the world. I could not stand humanity. And Jennifer looked at me and she's like, well, change it. And I was like, you know what? Oh, okay, that was an option I gave you. And it was a moment where I was like, you know what? Screw it. I don't like the reality that we have. What if we create the reality we want to live in? And as a white man in America with white privilege, I have the responsibility that comes with that of using that voice. I get a seat at tables people don't. I have a voice some people don't. But I also detest bullies, and I also want to protect those around me. And I thought, I've never cared about money. I've never cared about power. It's not a void I have to fill. But I look around and I see these billionaires, and I see them hoarding and filling. They're trying to fill something they'll never fill with that. That's why they hoard and hoard and hoard. And I'm like, you know what? I have to go get the money and power. I have to go get it because I don't care almost, So my Cluck Hut really, that's a lot of lead up for this company. Started with a soap that Jennifer created during the pandemic as an escape from virtual meetings, and to create the perfect eco-friendly, pH balanced, sustainable, sensory-friendly soap. And I hyper-focused on my alcoholism and my depression in the above-ground pool with white wine out of the box. And we had chickens we had just gotten pre-pandemic, bad chicken jokes, and this low-key depression. And our chicken pen is called the Cluck Hut because it's the fuck hut, but chickens. And so we decided, I had this amazing soap she created that I liked, and I don't like bar soap. I have sensory issues. I don't like it on my skin. The film, it doesn't leave a film. It doesn't dry you out. I'm like, this is incredible. The soap really became the vehicle for the mission, and the mission before the money. So the jokes that came with it, though, were like, well, a lot of soap companies, they have a more masculine line. Well, obviously, it's going to be our cock line because roosters. And we got, fruits and citrus and floral. But then I'm like, and we have to have a non-binary line because that pun's just sitting right in the damn table. How do we not have a non-binary line? And all of our products have pronouns. So like he, she, they on the cock line, she, he, they on the fruits and citrus, etc. And then they, them on the non-binary line. And then, we wanted to come out with a soap that had scrub in it. And so we used this barley grain mash after they brew beer at a local brewery, and it was like, it's our exfoliant, F-O-W-L, just dumb jokes. And then our shampoo bar, we call it our poo bar because we took the sham out. Just the poo left, And so it was about building something we all needed a laugh. But what if we could do everything the right way? Prioritize people over profit. Focus on diversity, eco-friendliness, sustainability. But I know that you can't do that when money becomes the priority. So from the beginning, my entire ethos of the brand of the mission was, first of all, I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself. It's so overwhelming in this world to make actionable change because it feels like a drop in the bucket. But then I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, we all feel this way. But when we put all these drops together, it's a tidal wave. So what if we create a product, we have this product and we have no plastic waste in production or packaging. We do no palm oil, no animal byproducts. And then when somebody buys it, they know that they're buying something that's sustainable and eco-friendly with hundreds of thousands of other, millions of other people that together are actually making a huge change. And then, I knew from the rip, it was no way that I could take on venture capital, because the second you take venture capital, you answer to the money. And so I was like, well, it's going to be blood, sweat, and tears. And luckily, being ADHD, I can hyper focus like nobody's business if I give myself the dopamine to do it. And it's novel enough that I want to, or I'm solving a problem. So I can do just about anything. But I also know that I don't want to do everything. There are people that are so good at things they do. So I decided to take the thing I always wanted from music, which was to be a band guy. But I was always a hired gun. And I wanted to build a band. And so I built the company like a band. I brought in, our first partner is our creative director, does our branding and graphics. Gave him 20% of the company without buying in. I said, dress us for the job we want, not the job we have. And I brought in, next was our lawyer, and then our web developer, and made them owners. And I built a band of people that were goats at what they did. And this company, from the ground up, from the minute it was started, was conceptualized as a way to not take on big business head on, because they crush you, but to affect the bottom line of big business. Because we built a big enough revolution, which we were saying, welcome to the revolution, back in 2021. The revolution has just shifted to fighting fascism instead of being as focused on the sustainability and eco-friendly. We still do that, but that not being the front messaging is right now, because dictator. So the idea was to build this from the ground up, and you're doing it right when every person that you are sharing the mission about at the beginning is going, well, that's nice. Oh, that's cute, because it sounds grandiose. It sounds like, I look in the mirror when I was saying it and being like, imposter syndrome extraordinaire. Like, I was like, no way. But the thing was, I just knew that it was possible. I had to give up hope to find hope, to create hope. And as it grew, it became exactly what I wanted it to be, which was an entity of its own, an entity of all of us, bigger than me, bigger than you, bigger than anyone around us. And it gave me something to believe in. And what I've found, is now seeing people finding that too and believing in the mission with us. I don't care about, it's not about me. It's never about me. I just want to live in a world I actually want to be a part of. So if we have to create it over here, then we'll create it. We'll keep the asses of the resistance clean, and every product we put out is going to be nerdy and perfect and eco-friendly and amazing, sensory friendly and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we'll also only be the vehicle for the world that we actually want to create.
That's something that we try to stress all the time, is prioritizing people over profit. I think that's how every single company, every single person should operate.
Agreed.
So you said that you started My Cluck Hut during the height of the pandemic.
During the beginning, yeah. Well, it was about July when we got our LLC, but it was it was right around. So it was George Floyd is what it really. It was kind of it was in the talk. It was joking. It was just kind of ethereal at that point. We were joking about it could be a thing. It'd be funny and. But when George Floyd happens, when it really happened. But I think when it really started becoming part of the atmosphere around our homebound, drunken shenanigans and conversations and emotions was the day that Trump said, "Shine a light up your ass," And I remember that day because Jennifer was on a virtual meeting. And it was with all the leaders from her work and education, and she's in there without mute on, and I'm in the other room, and I just go, "What the fucking fuck?" And she goes, "Trevor!" I'm like, "Oh." All the leaders in the district. And so it was just this moment of just reality of the situation. We are all, and It was so funny because everyone on the call, they all kind of was like, yeah. Like we're all going through it. But it was about that day where I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. I knew how crazy it all was, but I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, no. And then, yeah, and then as that those few blurred months of reality rolled along, yeah, that's a long answer for during the height of the pandemic. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did your approach change from the Biden administration towards what we have now? Like when
Yeah.
Donald Trump was elected, was there a moment of doubt in what you were doing, or did it light a fire under your ass?
Okay. Yeah. So, Biden. The when Biden was elected, the celebration was not that this is the guy we need or necessarily want. It is the guy that can keep at least the status quo, so we can work over here to continue to build a movement. And that our trans family will be safe and our immigrant family will be safe. It wasn't the ideal, but it was at least okay. We're getting away from the insanity of Trump, and anything by comparison to that was like, ah. So we were working on the building, the ethos of the eco-friendly nature and environmentally friendly nature, and the people for profit mentality, and getting that vision out there. When Trump got elected, or when right after the election, it was disheartening, like it was for everybody. It was like because we had all gone through and at least cliff noted Project 2025. We knew what was coming. The guy projects every move. People say he lies all the time. He tells the truth all the time too. And so you know what he's going to do. It's just in the stuff that he says is a joke that you're like, nah. So it changed in this. The best thing that could have ever happened to this country is Trump getting elected. And I say that because we had become so complacent as a country that his election awoke the sleeping demon that needed to be awakened. The people that got complacent in a world that fed them media, fed them everything, where we didn't feel like we had to fight for anything, and a generation of people who hadn't had to fight for anything, had been lied to, had seen 9/11, but then seen this fake war and just felt disconnected, disassociated completely. And I think that moment was so powerful because, and as I talked to Jennifer, I talked to my team, and I was like, guys, I know we've always been very outspoken, but I was like, this is a moment in history where we can so easily find our customer, because all you have to do is say, hi, I believe in basic human decency, and you just lost the entire MAGA crowd. B, I don't want to deal with them anyways. I don't want to hang out with them. I don't want them around my family. I don't want them bullying my people. C, Trump is a clown. And at the end of the day, people like him, bullies like him, they only have ever known respect through fear. They've never been respected for being a serious person. And the only way you bring those people down is by exposing what little fragile people they are. And so my concept of the whole thing is the idea of, we are going to be loud, but we are not going to give them what they ask for. They always say, they love liberal tears. They're telling you what they need, how they feed. Well, my demand avoidance, my oppositional defiance disorder will not allow me to do what you tell me. And so it was this reaction, natural reaction of mine to be like, they want us angry. I will not give them that. At the same time, I understand that a lot of people are scared, and the chaos of the overwhelm that is by design with their crew, MAGA crew, is exhausting people. And I am seeing the same social media feed. And I'm sitting here going, I feel exhausted. I know everyone else feels exhausted. And I'm like, this is a moment where our content, I always tell people like, I love your content. I go, my content is my therapy. It's our therapy. And I have, people, mother cluckers in our crew that, family that will come up and say the same thing because it's bringing levity. This is resisting voice. If you don't sound like this after this weekend, you didn't resist hard enough. It was a moment where I was like, we can truly let people know that they're not crazy. Let them know that their emotion and feeling is valid. And also remember that is what abusers do This is what they do. And if we can show them a fearless voice with a humorous edge that also is topical, also is taking a different light, a different look at topics that are overwhelming, that are hard to stomach, that are hard to swallow, trying to just figure out, because a lot of us are sitting here and going, that is an impossibility to be that cruel to me. I don't understand how someone can be that cruel. And then it is so disheartening to see it happen again and again. What was your question? Did I answer it?
You answered perfectly. We've been following this movement in DC since February, coming out here 16, 17 times this year. Were you following this movement along throughout the year on the ground, what was happening in DC? And then how did you get involved with this weekend particularly?
Yeah. So, I mean, the beauty of what we do and of building your algorithm brick by brick is it brings you to the people that are aligned. And so, being introduced to, back when our account was 2,500 people in January, before we, it really started taking off and building our community the way that it is now. I was following Jolly. I was following, Matt. I was following these people that, are speaking up, and I was watching it become more active. And then it really all happened because the first video that went viral for us really was the perfect video to go viral because it set in stone and said exactly what I wanted everyone to know about us. And it was humorous, and because of that, it's so wild to go from unknown to all of a sudden you are like a quote unquote influencer. You are part of a zeitgeist that is, every one of us feels like we don't belong in. We're all like, I don't know. I didn't know what to do, so I said stuff. It's like I just used my voice because I didn't know what else to do. And so it started because that video went viral. And then when you have a larger, starting to be a larger account, you can reach out to other people and they'll respond. And so my whole concept is that's still that band mentality. So I started talking to some people like Maddie, the badass quilter, and then Molly, the optimistic soap maker, and then Chris and Dave commented on our post. We ended up coming to be friends. Diane Schaefer. It was just this. All of a sudden, I'm like talking to these people who I respect. And then there was this little group we started called the All Coven of Accidental Activists. It's Shabby Creek Cottage and Chris and Dave and all these awesome Renee, a fake adult mom, is in there, and all these awesome progressive people. And we started Dad Briefs. Slade is in there. We started in like understanding and seeing just we are all trying to figure it out in real time. And so that brought me to USMC Angry Vet, Matt, and then that group. I am a networker. I'm a band builder. I love that. Then that group led me to the plan. Well, no, Cliff Cash reached out to us and told me about the Remove the Regime thing. And I'd been seeing, I hadn't heard of that yet because it was just starting, and invited me to that Signal chat. And then I went and invited everyone in the other group to that Signal chat. And I was starting to become aware of what was happening because of Jolly's videos and because of Sergeant Rhodes and seeing everyone on the street. My desire to be a part of this in any way I could was selfish because of the fact that I want our brand to be associated with the resistance, with the revolution, because of, not for selfish reasons for me, but because I want to show other businesses that it's okay, that you are without fail going to land on the right side of history. There is no way if you read any basic history of the world, what is happening now, you will be on the right side of history. And my goal is, once we get to the other side of this and the pendulum's coming back and we are removing billionaires from being billionaires, and I want to have stood 10 toes on business in a way that we can lead the charge of how business is done. Basically, what I want to do, and we are doing, is that this orbit we're building, this orbit of good, it grows with every new business we work with, every new influencer, creator, content creator, whatever, that we work with that align. And as it grows, the gravitational pull grows. More people want to be involved, more people. Everyone is looking for a leader. All of us are too. But we realized if no one's going to do it, that's why this movement exists. That's why Cliff has put all the effort and work in, and everyone involved, Removal Coalition, everybody, you guys, because all of us were looking for, couldn't find, decided, fuck it, I guess we're doing it. And then we found each other, and we inspired each other, and we realized we weren't alone. And so to answer your question, long story short was, I was always going to be a part of the resistance, because, not because of any other reason than my ethos as a human is resistance. It was never not going to be a part of it. I didn't know how it would be, but I also came here this weekend as the only business represented in this cast of this motley crew. And that to me is unacceptable. I want business owners to know that, you know, the MAGA crowd loves to come in our comment section to tell me something that it blows my mind. They're like, you're stupid to alienate half of your customer base. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I was doing it. Wait, oh, they were never our customers. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, in a country of 350 million or so people, even if generously half the country was MAGA, that's 170 million people. We're going to be okay. If a quarter of those people are our customers, we're $1 billion company, and we're paying a living wage, and we're changing the world in as best we can where we are, and we're inspiring others too. And that was my moment of revelation. Was just, I think we get ingrained in us this idea as business owners that, you know, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics, you want to please everybody, and it's so funny when they come in with this, like, how stupid are you to, you know, alienate customers and lose money, and it's like, the fact that you think that's what it is, you don't understand that it was never about the money. It's about the mission, and you're not a part of it. Now, you can be, and that's why the tagline we use in our company that I came up with is, if you use soap and don't suck at being a person, we might be for you. Because that's up to you. You can suck or not. You can choose not to suck. But we're going to be there. We're going to be there all along this rocky road that we have ahead of us, because at the end of the day, fascism is an ideology that eats itself. It needs an other to exist. It will eat the other, and then it will find a new other, and it will destroy itself. It will lose. It can't win. It is a lost ideology from the start. It is flawed and will end and lose. So I have to come back to, I always put the metaphor out that it's like walking into a casino where every slot machine wins every time. We literally can't lose, and it's proven through history that the better angels will come out victorious. Now, it doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect. Everything wasn't perfect before we got to this shithole state of affairs. It wasn't perfect then. But, you know, them saying make America great again is the problem, because it never was great for everyone. And we are constantly moving forward, moving the needle forward, until right now where it just feels like it's just snowballing backwards. But the thing is, it isn't. Those people have always existed. They've just been given validation and justification for being their horrible selves. But the thing is, the horrible self that they're being is nothing but their fear of irrelevance. And Donald Trump takes away any self-blame they can have, which is a hard thing to look introspectively and blame oneself, work on oneself. He gives them the out of an enemy, an external enemy. It's the old title is old as time as far as con men go. You know, the sleight of hand. And these people, they are, every accusation is an admission. You know what you're up against. But the thing is, every time in history, they do go back under the rug. I would like, you know, hopefully to do this in a way as we move forward, that we can make the cool kids table the table of love and acceptance, not the cool kids table being the bullies, and everyone's trying to be in there, but knowing that the second you cluck up and step out of line like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you're ousted. That is not a sustainable world. So, long story to a very short question is, we were part of this before it started. What is happening on the streets in DC should be happening in every state, in every town, in every city. And because of what happened here and what everyone's been doing here, this was the icing on the cake. This was what everyone needed to see. All these faces, all these personalities, all these people coming together gives other people the permission that they need so badly to realize that they can say fuck it too. That they can say, you know what? Nah, I'm not scared of them. I'm not scared of this this loud bullshitter. I'm not scared of it. And that is the revolution, is just people waking up to the fact that we're the majority. And that at the end of at the very, very end of the day, the last thing I'll leave you with on that is this. I always remind my team, love wins in the end. If love hasn't won, it's not the end. And the fact is, hate and anger, they need opposition to exist. Love and joy do not. They need us more than we need them.